Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
For over 2 millennia, the figure of Jesus of Nazareth has inspired awe, devotion, debate, and even conflict. His image adorns cathedrals, graces countless works of art, and forms the cornerstone of one of the world's largest religions. Yet, despite his immense significance, the true image of Jesus remains an enigma, shrouded in layers of myth, cultural reinterpretation, and historical speculation. From the serene, light-skinned portraits of the Renaissance to modern depictions in film and media, the visual and conceptual representation of Jesus has undergone profound transformation, often at odds with historical realities. Understanding the historical Jesus requires a journey into the socio-political world of first-century Palestine, a dive into the religious currents of the time, and an examination of the socio-cultural forces that shaped his portrayal across different eras. Far from the universally recognized figure many imagine, Jesus emerges as a complex and multifaceted individual, a Jewish teacher, revolutionary thinker, and, for many, the Messiah. Yet, disentangling the man from the myths demands an honest reckoning with history, archaeology, and theology. This exploration seeks to reconstruct the historical image of Jesus and unravel the myths that obscure his identity. Why does the traditional portrayal of Jesus often differ so dramatically from what we know about his time and place? What drove the evolution of his image in art, culture, and doctrine? And how has this transformation influenced perceptions of Jesus across the globe? By addressing these questions, we embark on a journey that challenges preconceived notions while celebrating the enduring legacy of one of history's most profound figures. To understand the historical Jesus, we must first situate him within the socio-political and cultural environment of first-century Judea. During this period, the region was a hotbed of political unrest and religious fervor. Governed by the Roman Empire, Judea was marked by heavy taxation, social stratification, and simmering resentment against imperial rule. Jewish society was deeply rooted in its religious traditions, with the temple in Jerusalem serving as both a spiritual center and a symbol of national identity. In this turbulent setting, Jesus emerged as a charismatic teacher and preacher. Born in the small town of Bethlehem and raised in Nazareth, he lived as a Jew, deeply influenced by the scriptures and traditions of his people. The Gospels portray him as a healer, prophet, and social reformer who challenged the religious and political authorities of his time. However, these accounts, written decades after his death, reflect theological perspectives rather than strict historical biographies. Archaeological evidence and historical texts suggest that Jesus likely resembled the average Jewish man of his time, a far cry from the idealized, European-inspired depictions common in Western art. He would have had darker skin, a short, rugged stature, and coarse hair, consistent with the physical characteristics of the Semitic people of the region. His humble background as the son of a carpenter and his itinerant lifestyle further emphasize his connection to the marginalized and oppressed in society. The visual representation of Jesus has evolved significantly over the centuries, shaped by cultural, theological, and political factors. Early Christians, often persecuted for their faith, avoided explicit depictions of Jesus, instead using symbolic imagery such as the fish, the lamb, or the good shepherd. It was not until the 4th century, following the Roman Empire's adoption of Christianity, that more concrete images of Jesus began to emerge. These early depictions were influenced by Greco-Roman artistic traditions. Jesus was often portrayed as a youthful, beardless figure resembling the god Apollo or a philosopher with flowing robes and a contemplative demeanor. Such representations emphasized his divine and moral authority while appealing to the cultural sensibilities of a predominantly pagan audience. By the Middle Ages, the image of Jesus underwent another transformation. Medieval art, heavily influenced by the Church, depicted him as a solemn, bearded figure with long hair, often crowned with a halo to signify his divinity. These images reinforced theological doctrines and were designed to inspire reverence and devotion among the faithful. The Renaissance further solidified this portrayal, with artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo creating iconic works that fused religious symbolism with humanist ideals. However, these depictions often reflected the European features of the artists and their patrons, contributing to the widespread association of Jesus with a Eurocentric appearance. One of the most pervasive myths surrounding Jesus is the assumption that he was a fair-skinned, blue-eyed figure. This misconception, perpetuated by centuries of European art and cultural dominance, obscures the historical reality of Jesus' Jewish heritage and Middle Eastern roots. Scholars and historians emphasize that Jesus' physical appearance would have been shaped by the genetic and environmental factors of his time, aligning more closely with the darker skin tones and features typical of the region. Another myth is the notion of a uniform Christian understanding of Jesus from the outset. In reality, early Christianity was marked by diverse interpretations of Jesus' identity and mission. While some groups emphasized his role as a divine savior, others viewed him primarily as a prophet, teacher, or revolutionary leader. These varying perspectives were gradually reconciled through theological debates and the establishment of orthodox doctrines, culminating in the Nicene Creed of 325 CE. The idea of Jesus as an apolitical figure is also a relatively modern construction. Historical evidence suggests that his teachings and actions often challenged the socio-political norms of his time, aligning him with a broader tradition of Jewish prophetic resistance to oppression. His critique of the Pharisees, his disruption of the temple's commerce, and his emphasis on social justice all point to a deeply engaged and radical vision for society. The quest to understand the historical Jesus inevitably intersects with matters of faith. For believers, Jesus' divinity and role as the Son of God transcend historical analysis. Yet, for historians, the focus is on reconstructing a plausible narrative based on available evidence. This tension highlights the complexity of studying a figure whose significance lies as much in his impact on human history as in his spiritual legacy. Modern scholars employ various methodologies to study Jesus, including textual criticism, archaeological research, and comparative analysis of ancient sources. The Gospels, while invaluable, are understood as theological documents rather than objective historical records. Non-Christian sources, such as the works of the Jewish historian Josephus and the Roman writer Tacitus, provide additional, albeit limited, insights into Jesus' life and the early Christian movement. The historical image of Jesus may differ significantly from popular portrayals, but his influence remains profound. As a spiritual teacher, social reformer, and symbol of hope, Jesus continues to inspire millions around the world. Understanding his historical context enriches our appreciation of his teachings and underscores their relevance in addressing contemporary challenges. By debunking myths and embracing a more nuanced view of Jesus, we honor his enduring legacy and reaffirm the transformative power of his message. In exploring the historical image of Jesus, we find not only a deeper connection to the man who walked the dusty roads of Galilee, but also a renewed sense of wonder at the enduring mystery of his life and mission.